book lovers, it is G-Swizz here, and I'm here today to talk about some book series that I want spin-offs for. This is a 7 on Sunday, and I am the host of 7 on Sunday. I will link the Goodreads page down in the description where you can check it out. And you can participate in a topic in the future, or you can suggest a topic. Back in the day, a lot of people talked about what spin-offs they wanted. I noticed a lot of people don't really talk about books or series that they want spin-offs for anymore. I thought that it's time to bring it back. There are so many series that I feel like need to be expanded upon. When a world has so much potential to carry on, or when you see a character, you just want to be able to read about them more and their experiences more, it leaves you these questions. You start headcanoning things, but then you don't think that it's right to headcanon things because you just want to see something happen. That's pretty much the gist of my list. I have a mixture between I want to see the world expanded upon and I want to follow these characters even more. So I guess without further ado, let's get into the list. I'm gonna start off with one of the OG. This is technically not a series, but it was a web series at some point. I have it in print form. I have always wanted more of the Nimona story by Noelle Stevenson. If you guys don't know, Nimona is just an amazing graphic novel webtoon that was put into print form. We don't have any more Nimona. Nimona has ended, and Nimona ended 7 years ago, and I'm still not okay. I'm still not recovered from the ending of Nimona because I feel like as much as it was satisfying to some and not satisfying to others, I just feel like this could be a full-on series. And I understand that Noelle Stevenson is busy with a lot of things. I don't know if Noelle Stevenson has been working on the She-Ra adaptation this whole time. I don't know if they were a producer or they were put on staff. I also don't know if they are still continuing on with Lumberjanes. I stopped following Lumberjanes. I originally wanted to read Lumberjanes because I wanted the same feels as Nimona, but I couldn't get it. There's nothing like Nimona to me. It just set the standard for me. Even if we don't get a spin-off of the character Nimona, I would at least like to see these two get their own spin-off. I really want a continuation of this world, and it cannot happen without Noelle Stevenson. Whether they are free enough to do or continue on with Nimona, it's honestly up to them. It kind of saddens me because I just want to see Nimona. I know that not many artists, especially when they get promoted in the way that Noelle has, could have the time to continue on with a project, but this is something that I've always wanted for a very long time. So I'm just putting it out there in my video. I want to mention Bone Crier's Moon, or the Bone Grace series by Catherine Purdy. I just want a spin-off of Casimir and Sabine. I loved those two characters, and I don't think we got enough time with them in the series for us to really invest in them. Just the idea of them makes me so excited. The fact that we just don't have much of them, and the fact that this is just a duology, when, as I mentioned in all of my previous videos, the mythology in this world is just out of this world, and it's just perfect for a book series, perfect for a long book series. If we're gonna tie up LS's and Bastion's plotline, then I at least want to continue on with Sabine's and Casimir's plotline. I have mentioned this, I do want to see more of the world, but if there are characters that I want to follow in a spin-off, it would definitely be Sabine as the main character, Casimir as another main character. I just want to follow them. I was looking at my notes app. I don't actually remember specifically why I put Daughter of Smoke and Bone on this list. If you guys don't know, before I film my videos, I tend to put my answers into a notes app, so I just know what to do. With Daughter of Smoke and Bone, it's just more of a continuation with some of the characters. There are a lot of characters you are introduced to in this series. I don't actually care which characters specifically we follow, but the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series is so rich to the point that I'd go as far as to say that it probably deserves a 6-book series. Not necessarily just following Karu and Akiva, although I would love Karu and Akiva to have more time. I mean, Mick and Susanna technically already have their like spin-off novella, but I mean, I could follow Mick and Susanna all day. They are the cutest couple, my goodness. Even though not everybody loves Akiva's family, I'd like to get to know that side of the story a little bit. I don't know, maybe even a novella collection, a spin-off novella collection of this world. I would just like to see more of this world because it's a trilogy, and I've mentioned this even with the previous duology that I mentioned. When worlds are built this well, there's so much potential. It could be expanded upon. If it's not, that's okay. I'm not too bitter about this one, but I'd like to see it. I don't know if any of you guys will agree or disagree with my next opinion. Hear me out. A spin-off series with Aylin's offspring, or like with all the characters in the Throne of Glass series Offspring, because you're continuing on with this world, but also some different characters. And sometimes I do want to see a spin-off series with the original characters. That's fair. But in this situation, we have 8 books with enough character development of the cast of characters that we already have. So unlike situations like the Air Awakens Chronicles, which has a spin-off series that I'm not really a big fan of because I don't think that we had enough of the previous characters beforehand. And it kind of promised us more of them. We didn't really get them. We more got like references to them or like time travel scenes with them. But with this series, I would just like to think the Offspring will have their own adventures and they will have interactions with each other. I would love to see a long fantasy series with the Throne of Glass characters' children. And that is what I've wanted since probably Empire of Storms. Moving on to series number 5 here, I would like to see a spin-off series of the Malediction trilogy. You guys have heard me talk about this series a lot. It is one of my favorite series of all time. It has the most bittersweet ending a series can possibly have. I was crying, yet I was joyful at the very end of it. Let's just say, if you guys have read the series, you would know that at the end of the series, let's just say the characters are taken to a new dimension. I would like to see how the characters live in the aftermath of the Malediction trilogy. That is very much a vague statement because I really don't want to spoil what happened, but I'd love more of these characters. I would love to see maybe an epilogue-y book. It doesn't have to be like a fully fleshed out book. I just want to see them all happy. I just want to see them all together, but also I just want to see if there's potentially more adventures in that other world. You guys already know that this is my favorite series of all time, and hear me out about the spin-off idea that I want. A lot of you guys might be thinking, what? G-Swiss, majority of the characters in the series, they can't get spin-offs. I'm not gonna explicitly say why. And you know, that's fair that Divergent, or the cast of characters in Divergent, cannot get their own spin-offs. I'm not wanting a prequel to Divergent either. I'm actually not wanting a spin-off of the Divergent series. What I want as a Divergent spin-off would actually be one of the experiments in another state. It was mentioned in Allegiant, this experiment was going on in a few states of America. So I want to see that in another state, whether they have a faction system, whether they have some sort of other system, and how they're able to fight it. I get it, Chicago, it was its own complete experiment in itself, and with what Triss did, that ended up solving the problem on Chicago's end, but I do want to see the repercussions of the experiment on another state. It's not necessarily a spin-off for the characters, but I just want to see another experiment or how they would have taken it, because it was fascinating to see Chicago. We had this entire book dedicated to Chicago and their experiment. Now I just want to see another experiment done, and I want to hear what Veronica's ideas were for those states. And finally, this is probably one of the most requested book series to get a spin-off for. We got a spin-off for it. It's not the spin-off we wanted, and I'm still bitter about that, and everybody is still bitter about that, but I'm going to repetition the spin-off that we want, or the spin-offs. To say it correctly, the prequel spin-off series that we want. I'm talking about the Hunger Games here. I think everybody knows exactly what spin-off prequels we want. I think the one we want the most is Haymitch's Hunger Games. The second one we want the most is definitely Finnick's Hunger Games. And the third one we definitely want the most is Joanna'S Hunger Games. Those are the 3 most requested spin-off prequels that we've given to Suzanne Collins. And what did she do? She gave us one for President Snow. And it wasn't great. Look, I'd be happy if we did get one more book set in the Hunger Games world, and it's definitely going to be Haymitch's Hunger Games. We all know, based on reading Catching Fire, not watching Catching Fire, because they did not include the scene where Katniss was doing some research on how everybody won their Hunger Games, but we know how Haymitch wins the Hunger Games. I just want to see his process through that experience. I would really love to know how he was able to endure that. We already know how he copes with what happened, but I just want to know even more about what happened to him in those moments. Haymitch is definitely the character I want a book dedicated to. Finnick Odair, I definitely want to see his experience, and I also would probably want to see Annie's experience in that book as well. An entire book dedicated to Finnick. I think that's the justice he deserves at this point, because you guys already know. And Joanna Mason, she plays a big part in the book series, and unfortunately the movies, as much as I do love them, they do underplay her character, because we have become so attached to her character. We've become so invested interested in what she does or what she does next. I would just like to know how things went there and how she lost everybody that she cared about, or whether she had people that she cared about in the first place. I don't know. I really just want to know all that. I'm very much invested in all these side characters, and you know what? The entire fandom technically is. This was a book series that we all really got invested in because it has an amazing cast of characters. And yes, I do love following Katniss. I do love following Peter. They're very intriguing characters to follow, but there are even more intriguing characters in the series. And Suzanne, you really wasted potential with A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That is going to be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already joined the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social media. I'm at gswizzlebooks on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. I'm at TikTok at gswizzle if you want to follow me there as well. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
How did I weigh half and I flipped it in a double? How did I weigh half and I flipped it in a double?